He was once hailed as the reincarnation of Buddha, a young boy who could meditate for months without food or water, a spiritual leader who attracted thousands of followers and devotees. But he is now under investigation for the disappearance of at least 4 of his disciples who have not been seen or heard from for years. He is also accused of rape, assault, and fraud by several of his former followers and critics. He is Ram Bahadur Bomjan, also known as Buddha Boy, the controversial and elusive figure who has been shrouded in mystery and controversy for over a decade. This video will unravel the truth behind the legend, the lies behind the miracles, and the fate behind the missing using new translations of his personal document with experts and witnesses. Bomjan was born in 1989 or 1990 in a poor and remote village in southern Nepal. He was the third of 4 children of a farmer and a housewife. He had a normal and unremarkable childhood until he was 15 years old, when he had a dream that changed his life. He claimed that a god appeared to him and told him to leave his home and meditate in the forest. He obeyed the divine command and went to a nearby jungle where he sat under a peepal tree, the same tree under which Buddha attained enlightenment, according to Buddhist tradition. He soon caught the attention of the local villagers, who noticed that he was sitting motionless for hours, days, and even months without eating, drinking, or moving. They were amazed and curious by his feat and started to spread the word about him. They believed that he was a reincarnation of Buddha, or at least a holy man with supernatural powers. They started to visit him, to pay their respects, to seek his blessings, and to witness his miracles. They also started to protect him from the wild animals, the harsh weather, and the unwanted intruders. They formed a committee to manage his affairs and to collect donations from the visitors. They named him Palden Dorje, his monastic name, and called him Buddha Boy. Bomjan's fame and popularity grew rapidly as more and more people came to see him from different parts of Nepal and the world. He attracted not only the devout and the curious, but also the journalists and the researchers who wanted to document and verify his claims. He was featured in national and international media such as the BBC, the Discovery Channel, and the National Geographic. He was also studied by scientists and doctors who tried to measure and explain his physiological and psychological state. He was subjected to various tests and observations such as blood samples, brain scans, and infrared cameras. He was found to be in a state of deep meditation with minimal signs of life, but no signs of starvation or dehydration. He was declared to be a medical and scientific marvel, a living proof of the power of the mind over the body. But Bomjan's fame and popularity also brought him controversies and conflicts, as he faced challenges and criticisms from various quarters. He faced opposition and hostility from some of the local authorities and religious leaders, who saw him as a threat and a fraud. He faced doubts and questions from some of the journalists and researchers who found inconsistencies and discrepancies in his story and his behavior. He faced allegations and accusations from some of his former followers and devotees who claimed that he had abused and exploited them. He faced lawsuits and investigations from some of the families and friends of his missing disciples who suspected that he had killed or kidnapped them. He faced a dark and disturbing side of his fame and popularity, a side that he could not escape or ignore. Bomjan himself seemed to be aware and wary of his fame and popularity, as he often tried to avoid and evade the public and the media. He frequently changed his location and his appearance, moving from one jungle to another and from one district to another. He sometimes disappeared for months or years without any trace or explanation. He sometimes reappeared in unexpected places and times with new messages and missions. He sometimes spoke to the crowds and the cameras, giving sermons and blessings. He sometimes attacked and threatened the people and the reporters, accusing them of disturbing and disrespecting him. He sometimes performed and displayed miracles and signs, such as levitation and light. He sometimes claimed and demanded authority and autonomy, such as his own army and his own state. He sometimes showed and expressed compassion and wisdom, such as charity and peace. He sometimes showed and expressed anger and violence, such as rape and assault. He was a paradox and a puzzle and a mystery. Bomjan's fame and popularity finally caught up with him, as he was arrested and tried for his crimes and misdeeds. He was arrested in January 2024 from his house in Kathmandu, where he had been living with his followers and devotees. He was arrested after a woman filed a complaint against him, accusing him of raping her and holding her captive for months. He was also arrested after the police found evidence of his involvement in the disappearance of at least 4 of his disciples who had gone missing from his camps. He was also arrested after the police seized a large amount of money and foreign currency from his house, raising suspicion of his sources and uses of funds. He was brought before the media and the court, where he faced charges of rape, kidnapping, murder, and fraud. He denied all the charges and claimed that he was innocent and framed. He refused to cooperate with the authorities and the judiciary and demanded to be released and respected. Bomjan's arrest and trial divided the public and the opinion, as he had supporters and critics on both sides. He had supporters who still believed in him and his miracles, who still considered him as a reincarnation of Buddha, or at least a holy man with supernatural powers. They defended him and his actions and protested against his arrest and trial. They claimed that he was a victim of a conspiracy and a persecution, and that he was being targeted and maligned by his enemies and rivals. They demanded his release and his recognition and vowed to follow him and his teachings. He had critics who did not believe in him and his miracles, who did not consider him as a reincarnation of Buddha, or even a holy man with supernatural powers. They denounced him and his actions and supported his arrest and trial. They claimed that he was a fraud and a criminal, and that he had deceived and harmed many people. They demanded his punishment and his exposure and warned others to stay away from him and his cult. This is the story of Ram Bahadur Bomjan, also known as Buddha Boy, the controversial and elusive figure who has been shrouded in mystery and controversy for over a decade. This is the story of a boy who became a legend who became a leader who became a criminal who became a prisoner. This is the story of a phenomenon that fascinated and baffled many people, a phenomenon that inspired and empowered many people, a phenomenon that exploited and harmed many people. This is the story of a mystery that remains unsolved, a mystery that raises questions and challenges, a mystery that offers lessons and warnings. This is the story of Buddha Boy.